What is Projekt Eagle?
Projekt Eagle is our development club plan that focuses not only on developing the club organization structure, but also on specific teams and specific individuals, coaches and players, and it unifies how we want to move forward in the near future, in the next 3 years at least, and it is an important thing for the club future in terms of unifying our thoughts into one document, and I think that the biggest asset of it is that it's been involving a lot of people in the process that we've been creating it, and it's not a plan of one person or a few individuals, but I think it's a group of coaches that have had a long history in the club and that really care deeply about its values and the way Storvreta players present themselves, and that's why I believe we chose the right things to involve in the plan.
How are you going to implement Projekt Eagle?
Well, right now we are really in the first phase. I think we've done the first part really well, and that's basically building and choosing the things that we want to implement into Projekt Eagle, because I think it could have easily become us trying to implement as much as we can, and then it would not be possible to handle that. So that was the tough thing when we were sitting on it with Oscar, to choose from all the feedback that we've had from fellow coaches, from the youth structure, or even the senior elite teams. And I think with this we've done a good job with focusing on the key parts that we really feel are integral for the future of the club. And this is the first part, and we've also implemented it or we communicated it to our coaches and to our parents as well. So far it's been only published internally in our club. And then the next part obviously is presenting it publicly, because we really want to share our know-how and inspire others. But at the same time, we understand 100% that we haven't made the first steps really, because it's only the first part and the hard work starts now. And this is, to answer your question, how to implement it. The key tool, of course, for us is working with our coaches. They are together with me, Oscar, and people who will be visiting the trainings and talking to coaches in meetings. This is where we just need to put in hours, and we will be grateful for any proactive coach who will be on board with our ideas and who will feel like it can help them to improve their training and game process and help their players better.
What are your organizational targets?
Well, we focused on two key aspects, and that's quality and quantity. By quality, we mean how basically we want to improve our players and how we want to improve our coaches so they can help their players more. And by that we mean improving quality of the trainings. So we focus more on stuff that is not so usual and common from my experience in Sweden so far. Implementing more decision-making drills, so we develop more smart players who understand game situations. And at the same time, we want to focus on quantity, and by that we mean mainly how much our players are allowed to train. So making the cooperation between teams effective. And at the same time, what we mean is quantity in what we give to our coaches as well. So we already provide a huge XPS library with drills that they can use in their trainings. I think right now we are on 100 or 200 of our own drills that we've created, and there will be more to come. At the same time, the structure or the organization structure in the sports department is extremely important for us. We want to focus on specific targets that we believe will keep our club competitive in the near future. The integral one on the men's side is promoting our B team or men's utveckling team to Division 1. because this is something that has been missing for a long time in the club since the team was taken away. And by that, what we want to do is build a bridge between our youth structure and our SSL team, which right now is huge. And the issue is that our coaches put so much effort into developing players who then leave the club after the junior part. So this is one part that we want to do, but of course, right now we are 2 steps away from that. So it's a long-term thing that we want to change. And at the same time, on the girls' side, of course, promoting to SSL in the near future with our young team that's building for it right now is an important part of the project. And under that, keeping our junior teams competitive with Sweden's best teams. And with that, our aim is to do it with as many players as possible from our own development structure. But at the same time, right now we understand that with some teams we are not ready for that yet. But with implementing Projekt Eagle for the future years, we believe that there will be more players with our principles and the way we want to play, that we will make the team competitive on Innebandyfesten with the best teams present there.
Why is it important to define the Storvreta player and the Storvreta coach?
Well, it's been one of the most important parts of Projekt Eagle, and to be honest, one we spent the most time on, and that's developing the areas that we actually want to focus on in developing in our coaches and our players at the same time. I think it gives us a pathway. Right now we are at the beginning, and every other team focuses more on different stuff. But what we want to make clear is that both coaches, but specifically players, their development is not just about what happens on the field during the games and trainings, but it's a complex system of things involved in the players' development, such as their physical work, such as their mental stability, and their responsibility to their training process, understanding what their strengths are and working with their individual targets. All those things from different ages, of course, where they matter, we would like to implement into the process. And for that, we also need to talk to our coaches, where we've also defined areas that we believe can improve. And it involves passing more responsibility to the players, for example. That's the one where we can improve dramatically, I think. And at the same time approach the coaching style a little bit. Less directions and a little bit more questions, giving a bit more freedom to our players, so they develop in an environment that we want them to perform in after in the games as well, with a lot of freedom and decision making.
What is the new club methodics?
Well, the methodics, that is something that in my previous clubs we have always worked into a lot of detail, but in this we want it to be really simple, so it doesn't create a feeling that we put too much workload on our coaches, who all of them are parents at the same time. So we needed to understand who our target group is with that, and this has been the most critical one in how we address that issue in terms of the target group. So we tried to really simplify the methodics by basically sending one important message, and that's that we want to improve or develop our players in game situations, because it's then more likely that the players will actually perform the skills learned in the trainings in the games as well. So we respect in that a lot the CU model that's been working well in Sweden for many years. And we have defined exactly which way and in which areas and in which situations we want to work with players in the green, blue, and red level, and it creates a nice structure and like a red line that goes straight through Projekt Eagle. When we discuss the sports part and then the game principles later, then the methodics are sort of the main part that puts light on the player roles in the games and the game principles that I can describe a little later.
How are you planning to use the 5 player roles and game principles?
So the 5 player roles, that's quite a tough topic. So I will recommend here watching a video that we have released with Oskar Lundin, who is describing Projekt Eagle in a 30-minute presentation. It's really well done and everything is well explained there. But to describe it shortly, the 5 player roles are basically the only roles that the players can appear in the game. It's, for example, an attacking player with the ball, defending a player without the ball, a goalkeeper is involved there, so we put a lot of emphasis on them. And the 5 roles are helping a lot, mostly internally. So when I'm going to watch a game of some of our youth teams, it will make it a lot easier for us to discuss after the game. So guys, role number 1, the team is excellent, but role number 3, let's find how we can improve in the training. And the game principles, that obviously is an integral part of how we want to present ourselves. I think the biggest change is that we would like to change the mindset of our teams after losing ball possession, and we would like to generate that sort of activity or aggressivity that the teams are hungry to win the ball back and control the ball. And of course, the most important principle is Eagle mode, and that describes basically all our efforts on the ball, how we want to create dangerous situations and situations that we want to score. But overall, the principles make one important difference, and that's that it gives players freedom to behave their own way in game and training situations. It doesn't give them solutions, it gives them ideas that they can use. And for that, you can also increase the chances that the players come to watch the SSL games, both girls and boys watching the elite teams that we have right now. And if we do this part well, then in a couple of years we should see a process where the players are sitting and they see similar stuff in the game thanks to the principles. It doesn't matter if it's a 10-year-old or SSL team. What matters is that the kids will be able to say, "Oh, look at, we are winning the ball back with the same speed because this is our DNA. This is Storvreta, and this is how we want to play."
What has been done already?
I mean, like Projekt Eagle name says, it is a project and it's a long-term one. So we understand that, and we know that we are in some things still in a very beginning. In a lot of processes, our club is not where we want it to be, but at the same time there is so much that is done great, and so much mainly that we have improved only in that 1.5 year I've been here. Credit to a lot of great people, because I think the people capital is something that the club has in a really strong way, and that's the core of everything. If we wouldn't have the people here, it would not be possible to do projects like that. But with the hard work over the last several months, I think the biggest changes right now, thanks to Projekt Eagle and our discussions, have shown in the junior department, both boys and girls side. I think we have improved mostly in the physical aspect of our player development. A huge part has been involving Jonas Anselm into our boys' physical part training, because he's mostly with SSL, but he's been extending his work into our JAS team as well. And we have great physical guys on the girls' side as well. And that's the biggest difference if we compare it to last year. We have drastically improved the numbers we spend in the gym, but not just on quantity, also on quality. We develop the players smarter, we educate them, and that creates that future chance that the players will be able to handle themselves, because they understand the process, or at least that's what we believe, and that's where we lead them. That's what we lead them into. So that's been one part, but also the increased number of training hours creates a higher risk of injuries. So we needed to address that as well. So we have extended our very successful cooperation with Muskelcentrum that we've been very happy with, who've been working with our elite teams, and we have extended it to the junior teams. So now our JAS players are being taken care of as well, and they have options to visit and assess their injuries with professional help. And by that we get a really nice level of consistency in the diagnostics as well. So we can be in touch with the guys from Muskacentrum, discuss those things, and be involved in the process as coaches. And I think the important part again is to develop that cooperation and extend it, keep extending it. And this is our project for spring now, to find ways how to involve Muskacentrum into our youth structure at the same time. So we can offer those benefits and this care to all our players, not only the juniors and the elite players. So this is obviously connected to how we think in the whole Projekt Eagle. It always starts somewhere. It's always prioritized either in youth or in the elite part. But sooner or later, we want to have the same level of care in all the teams.
And what are your targets for 2025?
Well, for this, I will take it more from like individual aspect. Everywhere I've worked since some years or some part of my career, I've always had the highest targets, not necessarily in results only, but I always wanted to be the best or helping the organization and be a part of the process being the best it can be at the current circumstances. So I think it has two parts. One is the target is basically right now to understand where we are, to be realistic, because there is a few processes that we can improve, our communication internally in the club, and so many things that are just so close to be working really well. But it's a huge club, and you know, it needs a lot of people to handle every single process, and for that we need to be patient. But at the same time, while being realistic, we need to have the highest possible targets, because that creates that internal fire for everybody involved with Projekt Eagle. And if we don't believe we can make it somewhere with this, then what's the point of it? We made sure that the people who are in the club, that we are in the right place to involve a project like this. We made sure about that before putting the hours of work into it. So we don't do it for nothing. So I think naturally from this, we have defined the target that we want to be the best organization for development, and not only of players in their game aspect or training aspect, but also in the personality aspect. Educated them about how they should behave, how they should respect their teammates, their opponents, and how they should feel responsible for the training process. I think this is the most important value we can give them. The individual responsibility, if they choose to be a high-level player or if they choose to have floorball in their lives as a hobby. We are fine with both, and our long-term target is to create environment for all types of players. But right now, the overall target is to get inspired by the organizations, and there are many great organizations in our area in Uppland, but also in Sweden. But we want to reach those targets that we've set in our own way, in the way that's defined in Projekt Eagle, that is very specific for our organization. And this is the only way I see us succeeding in what we have lined up. And of course, the future is exciting, but like I said many times, it's going to be a long-term project. So we need to get ready for that.